I don't think anyone knows what the metaverse is yet. We know what it could be, but we don't know what it is right yet.
The whole hype around Metaverse. What can you tell me about that?
It's very dystopian. It's these walled gardens.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
It's these walled gardens that don't seem that they sort of take all the worst parts of technology. Humans are designed to go out and interact with the world. So I hope to see, and then we've got the other side of the coin where companies like Niantic are trying to build a metaverse where they're bringing out the best in humanity rather than the worst, putting you in an echo chamber, which causes, more extreme views to emerge on the internet, which makes it less good, I will say. So the metaverse, I think, is very much an unwritten path.
Wow, this is a great chance to be an avatar version of myself and interact with other people. What sort of startups should we look into for this space?
The metaverse technically has existed since 1999. If you cast your minds back to a game called Second Life, that is technically a metaverse.
I played it.
And that has technically got everything that people are talking about. Yeah. You can buy and own property. You can build and own your own avatars. You can build whole casinos. Yeah. You can do all sorts of stuff.
I had an entire lecture for one of my modules in university on that.
Exactly. So it's a fully functioning metaverse as is, but people have just forgotten. And I think what companies like Facebook are doing with their major investment into companies like Oculus, into their acquiring them and then pumping more capital into Oculus. I think what Facebook is trying to do is take maybe that Second Life experience into a more VR experience. Guys who are trying to do more AR metaverses where they're trying to get you out in the world. AR, augmented reality. So companies like Niantic are a great example of that, who are trying to bridge the digital world into the real world versus companies who are trying to pull you out of the world and put you into a digital world.
Run away from the current reality.
Exactly. The Warcraft and Starcraft series as well owned by, you've got Overwatch, which had a big explosion in 2016, 2017. So there's a lot of IP now and a lot of idle IP in that Activision-Blizzard group of games that haven't been touched in 20 years that Microsoft can quickly pull out of a bag and release a game for, which would cause immediate growth in revenue. So it's a very smart move by Microsoft. Our internal research where I work shows that Asia Pacific is likely the biggest gaming region player base wise. Just pure numbers, right? You've got a lot of really high population countries in Asia, Southeast Asia that are playing, and lots of an emerging middle class in Southeast Asia who now are buying computers and mobile phones and installing their first game and playing it.
To the hardware to play these games,
as these economies,
virtual reality, yes?
Yes and no. Virtual reality, I think, is a bit far off. It's very expensive. The barrier entry is high, but you've got a lot of players in Asia Pacific coming onto mobiles and PC, and that causes a big spike in revenue. And that's maybe what Microsoft is anticipating too with buying Activision-Blizzard. I think we will see come out of China. This is hopefully some companies can start really bringing the barrier to entry down on VR.
I think that is needed for it to transition into a more successful, sustainable space, especially for investors. Because, for example, 3D glasses, right? There was this hype, there was a spike, and then after that...
Every TV had 3D at one point.
Exactly.
And then it just disappeared. It just faded out from existence. New TVs now don't come with 3D.
Absolutely.
And the big thing with VR too is you have to have very good technology backing it, because if the VR is what they call laggy or jerky, so you feel jittery, it gives you motion sickness and makes you sick. And the last thing you want to do is selling a product.
There's research to back that.
Yeah. Well, the last thing you want to do is sell a product that makes people throw up, right? Like you don't want people getting sick playing games.
No.
So VR has a while to go, I think. I don't think we will see any major strides this year in the VR space. I think especially a lot of the growth right now and a lot of the focus I'm seeing from the people I talk to is around online multiplayer gaming. Constantly adding new content, constantly upgrading. Yeah. That's, caused that game to maintain relevancy to the point that they're actually rebuilding the game for new consoles so people can keep playing it on new consoles. So
I see a pattern here because for myself, it kind of looks like the metaverse is trying to achieve this. We're trying to have a different world where everyone interacts in like a WoW, World of Warcraft or GTA environment. Minus the gaming side, of course. Yeah, for sure. And I think the metaverse is less about gaming and more about just these spaces where people can meet online and hang out with their friends.
Whereas
do
a lot
transactions,
of course, or
buy
have a
plots
business
of
meeting.
land.
Yeah, exactly. and people are trying to build economies around it, especially companies like Metaverse, like Meta,
Yes.
because they want to make a lot of money off it. Here in Singapore, you've got a local company called Garena with their Free Fire game, which some analysts are saying was the most downloaded mobile game of 2021. So it's a very popular game. It's taking massive market in Southeast Asia, in South America, in Latin America, now they're pivoting into North America, pushing into Europe. It's a very popular game. It's an online multiplayer game. So they're another, I think they're part of the C group, which is listed, I believe. So
it's huge.
Yeah, and the C group, of course, is actually Garena. So Garena was the first product of the company, and then they used their expertise in online worlds to then go out and start building things like Shopee, which is their version of Lazada or Alibaba, I believe, and then grow out as a group. And they're very large now, and a lot of that initial revenue was all on the back of video games. Stumbling blocks in Web3 that people haven't addressed. The first one is that no one wants to run a server anymore. No one wants to run, even nerds don't want to run servers now. You see there's 2 or 3 companies that have made off like bandits, which are Google, Microsoft, and Amazon, running servers because no one else wants to run servers. They will happily pay someone else to run the server.
They think that they want to run their own, but in actuality, it's not the case.
Correct. So nothing, I think, has majorly changed about this space yet. It's just, if anything, a new bunch of centralized platforms are emerging, but they're sort of masquerading as a decentralized platform because the underlying database is decentralized, but there's only 1 or 2 ways to interact with that database through these companies anyway. My only advice to people when they ask me about NFTs is to actually, are they providing value? Do they create something? And the answer a lot of times is no. Like, so an NFT is a non-fungible token. So what that is crypto is a blockchain, which means that each minute, second, depending on the block time, which is set by the author of the blockchain, a new block is made and there's a bunch of data on that block. Now, an NFT is a single token or a single line in one of those blocks. But a lot of NFTs, when you actually look at the underlying things, they're just a URL. So if someone takes the website down, the NFT is then worthless. It's not the whole image in the blockchain. They're not showing you the blockchain. They're saying we sent an API call to another provider on the hope that they're going to put it on the blockchain in the next 15 minutes. Okay. So it will likely end up there, but we can't guarantee it. So there's a lot of trust going around in this sphere. I can see a lot of money on it, a lot of hype, and I can understand people like new things. Like I'm not trying to knock it too hard. I'm just saying that maybe people need to take a few steps back and look at the underlying technology and is there actually something there? Has Bitcoin solved any problems? I'm not sure at the moment. Could it solve problems? Certainly, but I don't know if we're there yet. So I think, a healthy dose of skepticism, be a bit more critical in your thinking when you look at these things. What does this actually provide before you just go and jump on the hype train? Look at the fundamentals of the companies you're looking at in the metaverse and what do they actually make? What can they show you now that actually works versus what's on the deck that they're promising? If you believe in, maybe if they have a really good track record of executing and you believe in them, again, that's all up to you. Take sound advice from people, but definitely look at what do they actually create? What is the underlying technology they've created? And what do they think that technology can enable? Games in China have these crazy numbers of concurrent user bases. They have, crazy amounts of money being poured into the games. Players are very high yield in there and it's very popular. They have stadiums, they have houses full of esports players training. It's, almost a national sport at this point. They've got TV channels dedicated to gaming. So definitely any Tencent is an easy one to ping up, but even
for AR, we saw it with Pokemon Go, right?
Pokemon Go, and Niantic,
the Taiwanese uncle with all the phones.
Yeah, it was. Pokemon Go was a great example of just everyone getting out. Power bank companies made off like bandits because everyone needed a power bank all of a sudden because they had a game that needed to run longer than 10 seconds on their phone. Shenzhen is Silicon Valley times 100. It's there's so much innovation going on. There's so many people who have ideas and dreams and then they go and try it in Shenzhen. So definitely be watching that area. Roblox is very popular with the younger generations. It lets them build any world they want. They can build whatever game they want. They can be whatever they want in the game, and they can play with their friends, and it's quite a walled garden, so it's safer, relatively safer for the younger kids as long as mum and dad are still watching. So
how is that different from Fortnite and Minecraft?
Roblox is it's sort of like a Lego online. It's similar to Minecraft but very multiplayer. You can like I said, you can build a game yourself.
Yes.
People have re-emulated whole very famous games inside Roblox to play. So Roblox is a very interesting game, and I think it's another one to definitely keep your eyes on, because they're an up and comer, and the revenue figures are crazy, staggering, because they just have such a huge player base. Have a look at what the companies are actually offering. Don't get caught up in the hype too much. Take a step back and just take a look.